Hey, what's happening? Before we jump into the show, I wanted to see if you had any music on a hard drive. You have a band, you have a project, and you want to self-release your own music. Well, there's an easy way to do it. You can go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate and go get your music up on all the streamers. You keep 100% of your royalties, and you can get 30% off by using this code. It's a great, easy way to get your music up on the streamers and share it with your fans, your friends, your family, your mom, your dog, everybody. Everyone wants to hear it. But go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate, HYPHENATE, and send me the link. I want to hear it too. Send your mom the link. Send your dog the link. They all want to hear it too. We'd like to thank our sponsor, iZotope, the absolute leaders in intuitively designed plugins for audio restoration, mixing, and mastering. At iZotope.com, you'll find a plethora of tools and suites that will enhance your audio production, whether it's voice, video, podcast, or a full production recording session. Check out the industry-standard audio repair tool, RX11, or the multi-tool mixer plugin, Neutron 5, or the powerful Ozone 11 mastering suite, plus tons more. Go to iZotope.com and use the code FRET10 at checkout for 10% off. That's FRET10 to get 10% off at checkout. And again, the website is iZotope.com, IZOTOPE.com. Welcome to Hyphenate Halftime. It is me, your host, your ghost host, Randy Randall.
Your ghost.
This is our show for Monday, October 13th, in which we now only have 14 days till Halloween, 14 days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Then it's over.
Joining me as always is my non-ghosted host, Mr. Aaron Farley. How you doing today, Mr. Aaron Farley?
I feel like a ghost.
You feel it?
I'm just not. Yeah.
Do you feel like bugs are crawling out of your face mask, out of your pumpkin mask?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm halfway here.
Good. Okay. Well, we are going to be discussing last week's interview with Erica Dawn Lyle, and then we're also kicking off our spooktacular spooky movie review month with the John Carpenter produced Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, the only non-canonical Michael Myers Halloween franchise. I think the only franchise where they really went so left field like this, right? I don't know.
I mean, I guess so. I think you're more of the movie the aficionado.
Yes, I do aficionado a lot,
which I like because there's a lot of things there's obviously a lot of things I don't know. I've watched a lot of movies, but as we've spoken about this before, I kind of like I feel like I found out later in life that most people like read magazines. And I always got magazines and just looked at the pictures. Like I didn't even like Thrasher or like all of that. Like I never understood like what the editor was. Like, here's the letter from the editor, and it's gonna tell you about the whole magazine. Like the magazine each month has a theme, and they kind of like go along that, like loosely go along that theme for the whole issue, and sometimes they have guest editors and all these kind of things. I had no clue because I never read. I'm like, I don't know what all these words are. Who cares? I'm here to look at the like
picture,
skateboarding photos and like what the new decks are, or what like snowboarding, and like what the boards are, and I'm gonna see who the photographer is, and
oh my gosh!
But I just never knew, and then. I don't even remember who it was. And I'm like, well, I was reading the letter to the editor. And I'm like, who reads that? I mean, the editor's letter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Like, what do you mean, why? And they explained the whole thing. I was like, oh, right, I'm an idiot. Got it. Magazines are like a thing. That's like when I was a kid, I didn't realize that like people would go on late night television because they were promoting something. I just thought like, how do they get all these famous people on here? It's crazy.
They're just hanging out. They're hanging out in the hallway like, hey, do you want to be on the show? Like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
You can be on the show.
I feel like I'm like 10 years behind on my Like right now, I know all the stuff that I should have known when I was 40.
I see. Are you on
Yeah.
Napster right now trying to download songs? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That was 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh,
I
that's
was
10.
on
Okay.
Napster.
10. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that was 20 years ago for everyone else.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I get it. So you're supposed to like, when you have a business, you're supposed to do like the business part too, right? Like not just the creative stuff.
Well, yeah.
Got it.
Well,
I feel like people are trying to tell me that forever.
You gotta charge
I'll
money.
Yeah. I'll figure that out when I'm 60.
You gotta leave a little something for retirement age, something fun to work towards.
Yeah. But all that to be said, like I feel like I watched movies just to watch them. And then
right.
when they're done, I was like, yeah, I don't know.
That was a
I
movie.
don't really know what happened. But it looked awesome. And it was really fun to watch and I enjoyed it. And then the next day it was like, well, remember the guy that did the thing? I'm like, what was that movie about again?
There was a director and a writer and a thing.
So it's good. So it's good to be in conversation with you that knows all the other side of it. And you also watch them and also understand the visual part too. So you're there.
I've been obsessed with movies for most of my life. I think I got ruined when I was probably around 4 or 5 years old. We had a cousin of mine stay with us. He was in high school. My brothers are older. My brothers, are like 12 and 13 years older than I was. And my cousin was even older than them. So he was in high school, but he was a movie nerd. He was movie obsessed. And I think I don't even remember this, but I think this is probably where it all started. If I had to trace back my superhero origin story, my cousin Roger lived with us for about 6 months while he was finishing high school. Cause I think his folks were splitting up and he didn't have a stable home life. So my mom and dad said, oh yeah, come live with us. And he was obsessed with movies. And so I think he taught me, this is the story. Again, these are things I don't remember, but my mom will tell me the story like, oh yeah, when Roger lived with us, he had you reciting like, oh, this movie was directed by Steven Spielberg. And like I was like a pet trick, like a stupid pet trick.
That's amazing.
My cousin loaded me up with all this weird movie knowledge. So all through growing up, I was definitely always like, oh, these are movies. These are all the things that you could do, And I thought like, well, who's the director? Who's the writer? Who stars in it? Where did it come from? What does it fit in there? And I think it kind of grew as time went on. And I took a lot of film critical theory classes in college. And
so cool.
And they were taught by smart film critics and these kinds of things. So it was really fun. I got to read a lot about movies, and I think my hope was always to try to make movies. And then I think the more as we've talked about, just living in Hollywood or living in LA, you realize like, oh, making movies kind of sucks. There's not a lot about movies going on when you're making it. It's more craft service and pecking order and drugs and getting yelled out by people with more money than you. Like there's not really anything. There's nothing really cinematic about making movies in LA in your 20s, And so I worked at video stores and art house movie theaters, and I was like, oh yeah, these are the movies I like. Like I don't want to learn, or I didn't want to make blockbuster movies or commercials or sitcoms. I was like, no, I wanted to do all this stuff. But those are the things that made money. Those are the things that if you were now in my life, if I was directing sitcoms and commercials, I would have 14 Porsches in the driveway or something dumb like that.
And you know what? You'd still be doing a podcast.
Of course I would. Yeah, of course I would. Yeah.
The crazy thing about podcasts now is like every single, you're looking at all these people that are very big and very famous and you go like, are you wanting to do this? I mean, it is fun. Yeah. I enjoy it. But I do feel like if you had a lot of money and you were I'm assuming all of those people are very busy because they're on tons of projects and whatever, that you go like, and you're still doing a podcast. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, also they're doing like American Express commercials and stuff too. So sure. I think like maybe the money is not quite what it was 10 or 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I've always thought about movies in those kinds of ways, or just been obsessed and tried my best, but never really wanted to make them. I guess, honestly, like, I've tried a few different documentaries and have written some scripts, but I think I was so disillusioned early on of seeing movies get made. It was like, it's not as fun as you really think it is. And also such an ego trip and such a hellhole.
Well, what I think is interesting about creative work, and this is going to sound dumb when I say it, but you either do it or you don't.
Right. Yeah.
And it really is as simple as that. Like I've had people ask like, well, should I go to art school or should I da 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 da? And like, there, you either do it or you don't. Like if you're going to go to art school and you think like having like $80,000 worth of debt is going to help you, like, because that's your path and you're like, there's nobody is going to stop you, then yeah, do it. Because you like, for creative things, you should only do the things that nobody can stop you from doing.
Right.
Because that's the only way you'll get through all the, like you're talking about, all the bullshit.
Yeah.
It's the only way you'll get through like well, I thought this was going to be more fun. You know, like all that stuff. Like, why am I still up and I've been up for 27 hours and the project isn't finished yet and it's due tomorrow? How am I, wait, oh, I timed this whole, this is what, got it. Okay. This way you get a producer. Or like, you know, it's like every single thing, but like music and that's the other thing is like you realize like, well, no one's going to stop me from playing music.
Right.
Like I'm going to do it whether I'm going to, no matter what, like whether I'm making $0 or $100,000 or $1 million, like it doesn't matter. Like the only thing I'm going to do is play music.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, that was for me for those 20 years or whatever. I was like, photography is the thing. And it was like, have a little thing like, oh, maybe I'll play in a band. Maybe I'll do this. But whenever it came up to like, hey, we want to go on tour. And I'm like, you guys, I can't leave for 2 weeks. I have work.
Shooting, yeah.
I've
my real
shooting
job.
and I have a meeting with clients and and like, unless it had something to do with like, well, if I could go there and get some photo work while we're on tour or if I could take photos of the other band and sell some stuff for their albums or whatever it was that had to do with photography, I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. But there was just nothing that was going to stop me from doing that, you know?
Yeah. Oh.
And I think that that's definitely the movie thing. Like we've been having conversations with our daughter about, because she's like applying to colleges and going through that stuff. And she's interested, you know, she's taken some photo classes and movie classes and things and was like, I think cinematography would be cool. And we were talking about it and I'm like, yeah, as long as if no one can stop you from doing it, then do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like 100%. But especially nowadays, I'm like, I don't know if that job is even going to be there for 4 years from now. So if you're willing to like, if you're so passionate about movies or visual arts or whatever it is that you don't care what gets in your way, then that's the thing for you. And who knows? It might work out, it might not, but you'll be happier for it. if you're doing that thing, if you're just like at least being poor and playing music, at least I'm playing music, then like, yeah, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
You know?
It has to make sense in your head, you know, for whatever way your brain goes. No, I mean, I think that was it with the movie thing. I think I just saw people richer and more talented and better at all of the things with all the stuff. And then the challenges that they had and just how impossible it was for those people who had everything going for them, you know, the Nepo baby thing or just all the money in the world or all the connections, all the things. And like, they can't get movies made. Like, what the fuck am I ever going to do? Like, I can be stubborn and I can be creative and I can be talented, but really guys, that's apples and oranges. Like there's no, like getting movies made is something else entirely, or making a movie is something so far removed from any sense of, any logic that I could ever understand. You know what I mean? It has to do with, and it changed and it changes all the time too. It's not like it's a fixed thing. Like, well, if I went to school for 10 years and got a doctorate degree, then I would know how to make a movie. It's like, no, the whole thing's changed. And now there is no movie industry. Now it's all here and it's all there. And so it really just felt like a moving target that was just filled with nothing but heartache and pain. And everyone that you would meet in Hollywood, or at least back then, you know, 20 years ago, it was like everybody at the coffee shop, everybody at every job, everyone you'd bump into on the street had a stack of scripts and just stories of pain and misery, how like, you know, how it just was never going to work out for them. And so I think I was disabused of any dreams of ever really making movies, but I could still love movies and still watch movies.
Totally.
It was still like, okay, well, this is easy enough to do. And I like doing this more. And then anytime I was actually on a film shoot or on a commercial shoot or anything, you know, every time, you know, you get to go visit someone on a set, you realize there's like maybe two people making creative decisions, and everybody else is just working like a shit grunt job. It's really just a construction job, and there's two creative people on that set. And if you're not one of those two creative people, then you could just might as well, you could be building boxes or doing drywall or doing concrete. It's the same job, and it probably pays better to do construction rather than sit around in this Apple box and let people yell at you all day.
It's not as exciting though.
well, right. Yeah.
I have to say, I do have to say that there's that I was, cause I worked construction as a kid and then got into being a photo assistant. And was just an assistant for one photographer mostly. Like I would assist another guy. When I first moved to LA, I assisted a couple of different people. But that it was like very small, like little shoots, and you're just like, there's like 10 people. There's maybe a makeup artist, and there's a producer and some other people other than the clients and stuff. But then I got onto a couple big commercials as a PA where, it's 150 people on the call sheet every day. And that was the big thing for me, was like, oh, it's just a construction site. Yeah. It's a construction site for the first like 5 days when you're building sets and getting it before anybody even shows up. And all the men and women are like the same people that you meet on construction sites. It's like very blue collar. Yeah. Very like everyone lives out in the valley, like drives, it's like suburban blue collar kind of like union jobs. But the difference with construction is like the construction dudes always had stories about like high school, or they had stories about some crazy party they went to. And then when you get on the site or on the set, everyone has the best story. Like anybody that had worked for 10 years, like, oh, well, this one time when Jamie, you ever heard the Jamie Foxx story? Or, whatever, it would be the thing. And then everyone would crowd around the second DP that had the like Madonna story or the like, whatever, like, but even when I was an assistant, you'd work with these assistants like, oh yeah, I used to assist Annie Leibovitz. And you're like, whoa, wait, what? And we're like, oh yeah, I was there once when her first assistant threw all the camera gear off the top of a building because he was pissed at the rental company or whatever it was. And you're like, wait, these things happen? This is when I was in Portland still. And because we'd travel to New York and shoot in San Francisco and stuff. And so we'd work with local assistants. And it was the best. And really in your 20s, and as in music, it's kind of the same thing. It's like in your 20s, you're like, yeah, this is the part that makes it all worth it. Like you get to do a cool project or whatever, but then you're like, but I just heard some story about someone who worked with Keith Moon in the 70s on a commercial that when he, whatever, and the craziest stories and cocaine fueled insanity in the 80s with these creative directors and all that stuff. And you're like, all right, this is fun.
That's the entertainment industry. Yeah. It's the good stories.
Yeah, but that's also working when you're working on the kind of more production side of it. And you don't have to be, you're not on the line for the creative part. You're just you're like, even if you're working upper, pretty close to those people, but you don't have the added stress of like, if this doesn't work, I might never work again. When you don't have one of those jobs, it's super fun. But then when you get to the point where I was like, I didn't do a ton of big commercial shoots, but I did probably 2 or 3 a year for a while. And then when you're on the top of that, I'm like, there's nothing. I mean, there's like a couple minutes of fun every day, but the most of it, you're just stressing out going, this whole thing's going to just
This is the end of my career.
I'm done.
I'll never work again.
Every bad decision possible. And all these people hate me. And oh my God, I can't sleep. I didn't sleep for 3 weeks. And, whatever, all that stuff.
That's the real fun where it kicks in.
But that's where all the stories come from.
Yeah.
But my kids call it dad lore every once in a while.
Let me tell you one about the great white whale.
Yeah.
We were out at sea for 12 days.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh yeah, I shot photos of that guy. I'm like, what? Yeah, we like drove a car into Malibu and we're trying to find some things on the beach and Like, what? Like, oh yeah, it does sound kind of funny coming out of my mouth. Huh?
Yeah. Now hearing it from me. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny though. But it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good to do that stuff when you're young.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, that's where I think I had to make that sort of choice, or the choice was made for me. I don't think I ever had to make the choice. It was like, this sounds like fucking hell. Like everyone's working hard and no one's,
Right.
no one's getting paid and everyone does shit. Like you could literally write a song in the morning and go play it on stage that night. Like your ideas from creation to getting feedback from a community was immediate, at least at that time, and it was sort of plugged in. It just felt like, oh, this is a fun, supportive group of people. And again, yeah, where no one's making money, but it's not hell. No one's yelling at you, but you know what I mean? There's a sense of like some sort of support or something that felt like, okay, well, at least this is sustainable to progress and support each other, and even go out to weird warehouses where no one's there, but go support your friends playing stuff and they'll come out and support you. And you're like, okay, well, this is fun.
And there's a lot more personal control. Like you have a lot, there's a lot less moving parts,
right?
At least at the smaller end.
If you have an idea, you can you make it so you can execute it yourself. You don't need 500 people.
It's more like being a photographer, right? Instead of producing a movie. You're like, well, I can go shoot photos today and put them up. Even developing it, like if you had to develop, I could develop them and show them to people tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need, it's like, well, this project, when this comes out 4 years from now.
But in terms of like developing a talent, you know what I mean? Like you need that feedback. And so because you have to make all of your, all your mistakes, and you have to make all your bad art like as quickly as possible, or at least like, if in order to progress and to get better, you have to just make those mistakes and learn from them, and getting that immediate feedback on like, here's the song, and you write it and like, oh, everyone hated it, or that didn't turn out well at all. That's kind of sucked, but you don't know it until you really like show it off to somebody and go, okay, well, I'm not writing that song again. Or
like when your energy is going out, and you're like, none of this energy is coming back to me. This is very awkward.
Feel it. It's immediate.
This felt so good in the practice space.
When it didn't work, and then maybe it was a bad show, maybe it was a bad thing. If you really love it, you could double down and either rewrite it or leave it as is and play for another show or two. And at some point, you've got to either go, well, I either got to learn from this, or that's just me. I was writing these shitty songs. Yeah,
I heard a really interesting quote from. Oh God, what's his name? Dan. He's a writer. He's in animation. He's a big he's a big writer. He might have even been on like Parks and Rec or something like that. Dan. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Anyway, I'll think of his name. Anyway, he was on a panel and they were asking him about writer's block, and he was like, "Oh, writer's block." He's like,
Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon, okay. Exactly. And it was like that. It was like the best way to get through writer's block in any kind of creative thing is to prove to yourself how bad of a writer you are. Because writer's block comes from you're sitting there thinking like, I can't write the best thing. I'm never going to write the best thing I'm ever going to do. And you're sitting there like, oh God, I got to come up with the best idea ever, and the best song and the best painting and the best this, the best that. And he's like, you just have to start writing. So prove to yourself how bad you are. And then you go through that and go, oh, there's a little good part. Oh, that's kind of a good. He's like, but you just have to write tons and tons and tons of bad stuff. Even if you're successful, you have to write a script that's the worst script you've ever seen or read. And you're like, oh my God, I'm a hack. I'm horrible. Cause you have to you have to wash all that stuff out of your brain.
Yeah.
You have to wash it out of your brain. Cause it's all like, our brains are all full of hacky, horrible ideas and like little tiny kernels that are like, ooh, wait, that's different. That's good. That's cool. And I thought that was such an interest, like a simple way of saying that. And I hear it also, like, you listen to painters and they're like, you just have to paint. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about what you're painting. You just have to paint. Or photographers is like, you become a worse photographer the less photos you take.
Yeah.
And like when you stop taking photos for a while, you have to, it's like shooting a basketball or whatever. It's like,
it's a muscle.
You go like, oh my God, I forgot what? Why are these always looking back? Oh, right. I forgot about the thing, whatever that thing is.
Yeah. And even you give yourself that time to warm up, which is basically warming up is just being bad for a long enough time that you stop being bad, and then, and then you start getting good. So even if you are good at something, you still need to give yourself that warm up time, which is just allow me to be bad in private before I go out and hopefully I'm good in public. But you need to just do that. And it's like, by this point, don't you know how to be good? You're like, you'd think I would, but no, there's a lot of mistakes. I got a lot of mistakes loaded up. I built up mistakes in between the last time I played and now, so I got to go get all those mistakes out. It's so true. You know what I mean? The only way you'd actually remain bad is if you give up before you got to the good stuff. You know, but it's so easy to get frustrated with all of that. You know, it's so easy to just throw the whole thing out. But in a thing like film, where it's so much of it's reliant upon collaboration and like heavy collaboration, you know, with hundreds of people, that, you know, there's no way to be good, really. And the things that are good, you know, it's weird little lightning in a bottle things that have happened. And, you know, but because that's what I was going to say too, is even with something like Halloween 3, it's no one sets out to make a bad movie. No one's ever said, I'm going to make a piece of shit movie. You know, they all think they're making a good movie until something happens, and whether it's money or time or just the idea wasn't good, but you don't know that. No one starts, you know, no one's ever said, I'm going to make a bad movie. So all these bad movies were filled with people, hundreds of people saying that we're going to make a great movie. That happens. That happens more often than not. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's a 90-10, you know, like 90% of the movies, you know, that everyone says are going to be great aren't great. The 10% of people say are going to be good might actually be watchable.
Yeah. So. Who is the guy? Who is the Gorman?
Oh yeah.
Corman. What's his name?
Yeah.
Richard Corman? Robert Corman?
I like how the more names you say, I'm like, oh, wait, no, I know who it is. And then
Larry?
Roger. Jesus.
Jacob?
Roger Corman. You keep saying names. I'm just like, no. Hold on. Richie? Let's think of the bad name myself. Roger Corman.
Big Rich Corman? What's his name?
Roger, yeah.
Raj. Everyone called him Raj.
Yeah, Funky Raj.
No, but I always love everybody's stories about when they started like doing a film with him for the first time, like, and that you knew, like when you did a Roger Corman film, that was like you made it, kind of like you made it to the first round of like, and that he would just be like, it doesn't have to be good, which is like, we're making a movie, we're getting them out, and we're moving on to the next one.
Yeah,
and it really is like that. That is such a good, it's like you need a Roger Corman in your head all the time for your project. Of like the first one is going to be a mess, but you know what's important? That you finish it and you move on to the second one.
Yeah. And you do it for no money. I'm not going to pay you anything, but you're going to do it. Well, that was Ron Howard had a quote saying, because he worked his first directing jobs. He went from acting to directing through the Roger Corman school, the Roger Corman company. And Roger told him, like, if he's like, I'm not going to pay you any money for it, but here's the title, you know, and if you deliver this picture on time and under budget, the good news is you'll never have to work for me ever again.
Right.
Because everyone else in Hollywood's going to notice this. They're going to see, and they're going to see, well, if he could do it for Roger Corman, they have no money, but look how good it looks for nothing. And then, he might get a shot somewhere else. And that's what happened. You know, and then he was able to do stuff. Yeah, no, but there's something. But again, this is just it's basically, you know, it's the industrialization of exploitation. You know, all of this stuff too. Like if you work for free and you do well, then you won't have to work for free anymore. It's like, but I have to work for free now. Like, yes, you do have to work for free now.
That's how it goes. It's called the internship.
Yeah. Again, things that are
that's
good.
That's why they don't call it a job.
Yeah.
But even jobs you barely get paid for. So it's,
especially when the cost of everything is doubled or tripled. The cost of living gets tripled on you. Like, well, I used to make money. That used to be a living wage. And now it all changed.
What's money?
Yeah.
Money doesn't even matter anymore. It's just like everyone's buying gold, and then the dollar's going down, and there's crypto, and it's all these different kinds of money. Pshaw.
Yeah, we all need
That's what I say.
We all need more crypto in our life.
Don't pay your rent, everyone. Just kidding. Just kidding. Pay your rent. Pay your rent.
Speaking of which, last week's guest, Erica Dawn Lyle, she is awesome, and she gets, you know, these tours done and these records done on a very robust DIY budget and project. And I mean, I'm inspired by her story and by what she's done. And I don't know, I thought it was really cool. I was
Yeah,
stoked
she sounds amazing.
to talk with her.
Yeah,
I've
how did you said that you guys you'd played shows with her?
Yeah, we played a show a couple years back in the park. I had like a little generator that I've done a few things with, and
Yeah.
and she was coming into town and asked if we could kind of set something up at a park, and it ended up becoming like a birthday party kind of thing. But it was really fun, and it was on a hillside, just above Chinatown, kind of in the
Oh,
Griffith Park
amazing.
sort of area there. And yeah, it was great. But yeah, I met her through Dave Scott Stone, past guest, and I think she was the touring guitarist in the first version of the reunited Bikini Kill band.
Yeah,
And
that's what she was saying.
yeah,
So
so
cool.
yeah, so she was able, she did a bunch of those shows. And yeah, she was looking for a guitar, and I was able to hook her up with the people I knew at Gibson to help get her guitar for the tour and everything, and that they needed. And
Oh,
so,
rad.
and yeah, and so we just kind of kept in touch, and she's been cool and inspiring. I've helped her, like, she's borrowed amps and things, and kind of I think I've become the gear friend
The
in LA.
LA gear friend.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, it's super cool, and it's all kind of improvised guitar noise, these sort of abstract compositions. But I feel like she has a way of presenting it and doing it that's so cool and inspiring.
What's cool, and I loved how she just everything was about community and like organizing and even in the little ways of like, yeah, I booked a tour to go to this town in Ohio that because there were 3 trans organizers there that I really wanted to meet, and so then I like built a way. It just so like ambitious in the way of like figuring out a way to have your art pay for your life, which pays for your art, which pays for your life, and like going on tour and kind of hustling work to live the life you want to live. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, no, I think she's got something figured out. They just feel like, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool, good, go get it. Show me how it's
Yeah.
done, because I feel like at some point I was like, wait, this boggles my mind. I can't figure this all out. But
Yeah.
but no, I love how she's doing it. And I was surprised that she had the Van Halen inspiration, or the Van
Oh
Halen
my
reference
God.
in the beginning. I was
Oh
not
my God.
expecting
So
that.
funny. So funny. Well, I love that. I love how she talked about that, like LA glam music kind of being, I mean, she didn't say like pro trans, but kind of like
but,
the vibe
but you could feel
is,
that, and you could see it, especially in the
I
fashion.
mean,
And there was about
obviously in the
androgyny and these
fashion.
kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also just some of the lyrics and stuff that come off as being very macho. But then when she was like saying some of the lyrics, that she's like, yeah, but it kind of makes sense in like the trans way as well. And that yeah, it's just funny. I don't know. She sounded awesome.
Yeah, there's
She
a whole
sounded awesome in the way of like being like just being open to all of the stuff, right? But
yeah,
then she sounded like she came through punk in the 80s, like late 80s.
I think
So
so.
then that makes a little bit more sense as someone who's a little bit older and came through that first wave of punk. Like I feel like did you ever know Chandelier
No,
in LA?
I don't think so.
So Chandelier, I don't know what they would have said. It passed away recently, but I met them as a he.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I first moved to LA, and just at a party, it was like some random party, and then super like amazing person and super funny and but then turned out as the years went on, I was like, oh, Sean was in a punk bands in the 80s and very big in the LA scene, and it's like big, like 6 feet tall, but also wearing high heels, but then sometimes like dressed super butch leather jackets and sometimes in like more feminine stuff. And it was kind of my first time even just in LA, like meeting someone and being like, what is, I don't know what this is. Like the vibe, like not
Not the
referring to him
person,
as
no, but just the
this,
whole
but like,
vibe of.
but the vibe was like, oh, this is cool. He's like a totally different person every time I meet them. And, but came from that same era. Like he was a little older and from that era and like tough as shit, like the toughest, but also then you're looking back and seeing some videos of his old or their old bands and just like super fun punk, like tough LA, like amazing. And I was like, oh, this is like way what I knew of LA before of the bands and stuff. I was like, oh, this underground part of it is way more like crazy and cool, like mixed with the club scene and mixed like punk and electronic music and whatever, and all that stuff kind of like swirling around in this thing was awesome, but reminded me of the same vibe.
It's so cool.
Hearing
Yeah,
all the
I'm
stories.
I'm just researching them real quick. It looks like they died in 2017. And
Yeah.
the Fabulous Glue, was that the band? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, I feel like it's definitely that's always the story of LA, right? It's just people, just living out the biggest life they can. I think that's sort of what was talked about, in the shadow of Hollywood or the Sunset
Mm-hmm.
Strip or the the sort of the entertainment industry. It's sort of there's room for so many of these big personalities and just sort of be big sort of people or just
Yeah.
on all levels. It's interesting. Yeah, no, I feel like the whole Van Halen thing is definitely like, again, it's just self invention or self reinvention, in that kind of that world of the glam Sunset
Yeah.
Strip thing is like, misogynistic as it was,
Yeah.
it's still all done in hair, like big aquanet hair and fishnets,
Teased
and
hair and
teased hair.
lipstick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're wearing lipstick and singing about beating your woman or something, just this
Yeah.
horrible sort of like, just catch 22 of gender politics and identity, at the time that just, I think would, or is ripe for sort of reinvention or rediscovery or reinterpretation. It seems like there's a lot of stuff there, and I think it'll get buried in one way or another through time, but also has that opportunity to kind of get rediscovered or sort of inspired and outside of its original context, which I think is always interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and just even about the fires. I mean, it was sort of just crazy, freaky coincidences of just writing a record about on, fire and fires and things. And then the LA fires, just so crazy. I mean, I think,
And then even the fires in the East Coast.
Yeah. But again, it's just more and more likely that these things are just going to be happening, with the kind of the climate change and the doing nothing about it. So it's like, this is the likelihood of fire inspired art
is pretty crazy. Yeah.
Could,
I know.
if you were taking bets,
yeah,
it's probably a safe bet. The more stuff will be written about fires that'll happen. I just, not to be crass or uncouth, but it just feels like, oh God, I just living in Southern California anywhere. Like it could every season, we're coming up on the next round of fire seasons and it's a roulette wheel, where what's going to catch on fire next. It just sort of seems every year.
Well, even the last ones didn't even happen during like normal fire season. It was like January, February.
Yeah. But it was timed with a wind.
I mean, it was timed, but like our normal fire season has been like the end of summer forever.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that stuff like, wait, this is happening in February.
There were those couple of years when we were evacuating and we met up with you guys for a few times when we had to evacuate our place here.
Yeah. We had to evacuate once last year, like in right around this time.
Oh no. From the mountains. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I remember they had the Big Bear fire and almost like it went right up to the edge of both of the ski resorts and everything.
And there's only a few roads in and out of those areas. So it's evacuation probably has to happen.
That's why we left just
quicker,
just in case the road, because the road to the road to the east was closed, and so we only had one highway out.
So you got to be on top
So
of
we
that. You
just
can't wait
left.
till the last minute
Yeah.
because if you hit traffic there. That's definitely one of the scarier parts of the Palisades fire, when people were just leaving their cars and just running. It just didn't.
Yeah, because where do you go? You have to go down to the 101, and then you're just stuck on the. I mean, you're even without that, you're stuck on the 101 right there, no matter what.
The one
I mean,
or
it's
the
just,
405? You mean from Palisades?
oh, sorry, I was
Yeah.
thinking the one on the coast.
Oh yeah, this is such a sad version of the
Oh my God,
Californians. Like, you mean the 405? Get off on Doheny?
Which one? Well, if you
Which
take this
fire?
exit.
Which fire and which freeway do you have to take to get away from which fire?
Oh my
no,
God.
that's too dark.
Well, luckily it's going to rain 2 inches on Tuesday.
Woo! I hope
get some rain.
Hope it gets us here. Speaking of darkness, let's switch over to our spectacular movie month. What did you think of this month's or this week's film, Halloween 3: Season of the Witch? I like putting the subtitle "Season of the Witch" because it really means nothing. It really has nothing to do with witches.
Well, this goes back to a same old web or podcast of yours of the Sonics.
Oh yeah, so
wasn't
it
there
must be the
Season of the Witch?
Yes, yeah, you're right.
But I thought the intro, it's just so funny to watch the intro. Like the intro is so good. It's just the close up of the TV, like the pixel, not pixels,
the CRT,
but the diodes or whatever. The CRT,
TVs, yeah, they don't have.
And it's so cool. I was like, this is the best. It's like it's just the best intro because it's so. Because especially when you find out later that it's about the TV and it's about commercials and commercialization and all that stuff, that this like just very graphic, like kind of Tron looking, like little dots and like colors and then just the synthesizer.
Classic John Carpenter. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Analog synth.
And I was like, God, everything is based off of this intro. Like not just that one, but like the other ones that were happening, like his intros became scary movie intros up to through Stranger Things. I mean, Stranger Things is basically that, right?
Yeah.
It was like coming back to that. And then now everybody's using those old like Moogs and the synths and everything for anything that's kind of scary-ish. But yeah, I mean, it was funny. It's hilarious. Like the costuming is like the least amount of costume possible. Like I'm a doctor, but he has like he just has a red little button up.
Yeah.
And then he just has a doctor's thing on, but then like not even a smock, just like a jacket, like a doctor's jacket, and then jeans. And they're like, there's someone in here. I gotta go into work, babe. Or whatever.
I love how he just like always grab like a 6-pack, or just always grab like some beers. Totally. He's just drinking the whole time, like
and just walking in and like the ex-wife is nagging at him, and he tries to give the kids masks, but she's like, I already got him these pumpkin masks, and then they're like glued to the TV. It was just so like everything was so goofy and ridiculous.
This is the kind of spooky movies or scary movies I like. You know what I mean? Where you're like, okay, for all intents and purposes, this is a horror movie that the box would have scared the shit out of us as kids.
Yeah.
But then you finally watch it as an adult and you're like, this is not scary.
Yeah. And they have like the guy the construction guy, like when they were, I just kept looking at all the other characters, like the secondary characters, and the scene, like he's on the phone and he's like, babe, I can't come home. There's 2 people died at the hospital tonight. No, it wasn't an accident. And then, but next to him is standing this like a quote unquote like construction worker or something, and he just has a hard hat on, but he just has normal clothes. And I'm like, they're just grabbing people from the set and like plopping them down or something.
Just stand over here. Get over there. Yeah.
Stand over there. And then like, you know, every hospital scene, there's like 4 people in the scene, but the hospital's completely empty. And they're like, it's funny, like looking at all the low budgetness of the whole thing, but how it was like even when the guy got squished by the 2 cars, it was like the slowest moving car. They're like, we cannot damage either one of these cars. There's no, we cannot afford to damage them. We have like this slow moving car, and then the guy goes,
Uh,
and he falls down. He gets like hit in the shoulder by the two slowest moving cars ever.
Oh my god! Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I had to turn it off once the face got melted by the laser beam or whatever.
Oh, was it when the kid
the
was
woman?
in it? The kid and
No, the woman. It was the woman in her hotel room.
Oh yes, yeah.
And she was like trying to pick off the
tag,
like, the computer chip.
Okay, is that where you stopped? You stopped it there?
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't see the little kid?
I didn't even see
the kid get his face turned into bugs with the parents in their room.
No.
Oh, get so much.
I mean, I was kind of late.
Yeah.
When I told you, I was like, it's on premium or whatever it was on Peacock, and then
I'm trying to think. The laser I got like wasn't that bad, but
the laser was. Yeah. But then the Jerusalem cricket comes like out of her eye and stuff, and I was like, ugh, I can't do that.
That was it.
This is my scary movie. Yeah. I don't think I told you about because you said your mom told you that you're like you can't handle scary movies because you were having nightmares or something.
Oh, I don't know.
That happened when you were really little?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you didn't watch.
Oh
no!
I saw them.
No?
I didn't. I saw the Poltergeist at like a camp. And I saw these things. I saw a few scary movies, like when my brothers were watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So no, I did have nightmares for a long time. I don't think my mom ever got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what happened is I went to see some other movie. Oh no, we went to see Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan.
Okay.
Have you seen this?
No.
Okay. In the theaters, so it was like the fourth Star Trek movie or whatever, and there was a bug that they were inserting into people's ears, and then it was taking over their brains.
Okay.
And so then I had nightmares for like
so you have a bug. You have a bug thing.
Bugs
oh no,
going in the ears.
I didn't know this. Okay, then, I wouldn't have told you about this.
I mean, it's not. I'm not like freaked out about it now. But then when I was watching it, I was like, ugh. And so I have an aversion to bugs coming out of faces.
Okay, well, it gets a lot worse. There's a scene. The scene that's the worst scene in terms of gore, like freakiness, is there's the I'll just tell you about it. There's the guy who's ordering like, we got to order your mask, so I thought we'd just come here and pick them up from the factory directly. And the guy's like, oh, that'd be excellent. Here, why don't you just come into this room? And it's like a science, or like a two-way mirror kind of thing, like an interrogation room where it looks like a normal like living room. And they're like, here, have your son put up this mask on. We're just going to show this commercial. And so they show the commercial and the kid has the mask on. And once he sees the commercial, the mask like just takes over his whole face, and then bugs the face starts melting inside the mask, and just bugs start coming out. And the mom and dad are watching it happen. Their son's face just turning into bugs and just stuff coming out of it. And he's just like, he can't get out of it. It's like, it's like a kid turning into his face turns into bugs. And the mom and dad are freaked out by the whole thing. It's freaky. It's enough. It's almost like a proto Saw type thing, because you see it set up and you know what's going to happen. You don't know how bad it's going to be, but Tom Atkins, our guy, is watching it through the thing and like, no, like you have to tell them, but you're just like, oh, this is so sick that they set it all up as a voyeuristic kind of peeping thing into this, like, but it's very scientific for them. Like they wanted to test the technology and make sure it worked. But but then it gets goofy again. So that's like, it's kind of freaky. It's a scene that'll stay with you. But the whole thing is that this guy is like an old like warlock, who runs the company, and they have a piece of Stonehenge inside their warehouse, and all of those guys in the suits or robots. Yeah. Did you see the robot face come off?
No,
so you missed
that yet. Yeah, I haven't seen that part yet.
Well, I don't want to spoil it all for you, but
go ahead.
All the guys in suits, like their faces come off, and they're like Westworld robots with like
oh my god,
dials and gears inside of their face. And what they're doing is they're chipping off little pieces of Stonehenge, like little rocks, and then putting those in the tag. And the piece of Stonehenge in the rock on Halloween night is the thing that's going to curse all the children, because he's an old he's like a 1,000-year-old like old Gaelic Stonehenge.
Oh, and that's why they all had Irish accents, and they were like some kind of the silver shamrock or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The Silver Shamrock Corporation, even though Ireland and Stonehenge are like very far away from each other, right?
Yeah. But it's but it's old and it's over there and it's something.
Yeah.
So they're chipping little pieces of the rock off and putting them into the tag on these masks. And I sent you a making of thing. I don't know if you saw the making of,
Yeah.
thing I did. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so like, but they only had to make one other mask. Those other masks were already Dawn Post masks you could just buy off the shelf. Like I think the pumpkin one was maybe made
Right.
new, or maybe that was the one they already had, but it's the witch, the skeleton, and the pumpkin. And those were already like being like commercially made. I don't know if you remember those Dawn Post was like, they made those kind of like big rubber masks you could pull over. They're really popular
Yeah.
back then. But it was a real company and a real guy, and they did it. And they're like, oh, cool. Can we make one more? This pumpkin one? Do we need for this? And then I think they started selling those too. And so those were, and this all gets back to the original Halloween, the Michael Myers mask. Was, do you know where I'm going with this?
No, I don't at all.
This is great. Well, it goes to your Star Trek story. The original Halloween mask is Captain Kirk. It's William Shatner. They had Don Post or whoever who had made this rubber like pullover William Shatner mask, and they made Halloween 1, the first one, on such a low budget. You know, they didn't even have time to make things. They just bought a mask, cut the eye holes a little bit bigger, and spray painted it white.
But it's a William
Shatner mask. Yeah, that's what the Michael Myers mask is. The original.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, I love that.
So it kind of goes
Star Trek tie-in.
Yeah, there it is. It all ties back together. But it's the idea of having these pullover masks is great. And I think they were even saying in the making of, like, if they would have just called it Season of the Witch and had nothing to do with Halloween, it probably would have done just fine as a horror movie.
Would have been fine.
But the expectations of slasher films that, and again, this is from John Carpenter, who created slasher films. He's like, it's no such thing as a slasher film. They're just horror films. Every year we'll make a different thing about Halloween and call it Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6. Like, no one wants to watch the same guy kill the same people every year. Like, that would get so boring and repetitive.
Yeah. Well, turns out they do.
Little did he know. Yeah. That's
exactly what they want.
So, he's back. Like, but we've killed him twice already. Now you really want him to come back again? Like, yes, this time he's back. Just for some unknown reason, and people spend millions of dollars.
Doesn't matter. I just want to scream with a group of people in a theater.
For IP that I already know, and I already know what's going to happen and the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were wrong, but I think this movie turned out great. It was a real fun one. I mean, this is definitely my sweet spot of like 80s and like not really scary horror,
Well, and it's just so funny. I guess I also haven't watched a lot of John Carpenter movies either. So I didn't know what to expect in the sense of like when they're like, we're going to stay at this hotel. And then he's like, should I get another room? And then she just like slyly looks over, and I'm like, wait, there's been no chemistry up to this point at all. Zero. There hasn't been any kind of like, oh, maybe they're.
Well, they won't. It's like he's this sleazy drunk doctor. Like, she's trying to track down what happened to her.
She's trying to her
father.
She's supposed to her father who died like just a couple days ago. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I do like that. I feel like this is a very 80s thing where someone who is not a private investigator investigates the crime.
Of course, yes, yeah.
So it's like the doctor's like, I'm gonna go figure this one out. I'm like, don't you have to work? You're a doctor. You don't just get to like get time off.
No, I think there's some kind of mystical warlock working here to kill all of our children. Like, it's more important.
But then she goes, I don't know. Do you want to get another room? And then he goes, I think you know the answer to that. And I'm like, wait, where did this come from? And I wanted to know, like, if there was a part of the movie that just got edited out that was a little bit more like, oh, maybe they kind of, there's a little bit of chemistry.
Some flirting.
The only potential chemistry was, like you said, he bought a 6-pack of beer before he got in the car. And I was like, why is he getting a 6-pack of beer to go on a drive to find the Halloween killers?
It was the 80s, man. That's what you did.
Hey, man. Yeah.
That's how you go. Yeah, I mean,
let me grab my Schlitz.
That's not a particularly John Carpenter theme. So he was the producer of this one because he created the original Halloween. He only directed the first Halloween movie, and then he went on to have several other highly influential flops, films that were considered flops and didn't make any money and were failures in their day, but would go on to influence the rest of sci-fi horror nerd sort of culture. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would say the one that probably comes right after this is They Live, which was sort of the basis for Shepard Fairey's Obey and everything else. From the look on your face, you don't know this one, but They Live is great. No. It's Roddy Piper, the wrestler, is like a itinerant kind of homeless construction worker, and he comes to LA and finds some sunglasses on the street and puts them on, and when he looks through the sunglasses, he can see all the alien people and read the signs that just say obey, spend money. Yeah, and that's a John Carpenter original. And
really? Great. I didn't know that. Okay,
David.
I have at least I've seen
David.
Part of that one.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah, I mean, it's so, but again, so influential.
Super cheesy.
Didn't make any money. It didn't make enough of a dent in culture at the time, but again, would go on to sort of form the basis of street art. 20 years later, 30 years later.
Right.
So, John Carpenter is great, and The Thing is another classic John Carpenter with Kurt Russell and Keith David. It's a remake. The original one was made in I think the 40s, and it's a group of scientists, researchers are at a lonely, isolated research station in Antarctica, and a dog comes running across the snow, and a helicopter shooting at it, and these guys come out and go, whoa, what's going on? And they let the dog in. And I don't know what happens to the guy in the helicopter, but the dog gets into their base, and then it becomes this taut psychological insane like practical horror effects. It's like it's not Tom Savini. It's this other great guy, but it's from the 80s where everything was made. There's no computer tricks. So you have these giant horror appliances, and so basically the dog is a shape-shifting alien that can assume the shape of anybody. And so you have the 12 guys in the research station. They can't get out. No one else can come in, can't get out. And one by one, they're like, look, they start to figure out like, well, are you the alien? Are you the alien? Who's the alien? How are we going to figure this out? Because people keep dying, but then or they don't die. They're here, but who's this?
They can't tell who's who.
Yeah. So it's basically, it's Among Us. I don't know if you ever played Among Us. It's that basically Among Us.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's so much fun, and
oh my God. Okay.
Not really on the scary level of things. But then
I need to watch that.
But then he also does Escape from New York, which is great.
He did Escape from New York. He directed that
and wrote it.
Oh, okay.
You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah,
that's great. A lot of Kurt Russell as like Elvis.
I like that.
He's great.
Kurt Russell is like his muse.
Yes. Yeah. For a lot of those films in the 80s.
That makes a lot of sense.
Stuff. Yeah. And Kurt Russell, and John Carpenter would also make the music. That's where all the music kind of sounds. That has this kind of synthesizer, kind of 80s modular synth sort of stuff. Because he would also, again, but also forms out of like no money for things. So he had these synths that were contemporary at the time, and would just play these little arpeggiated things and make eerie, creepy music for his movies. And his wife was his producer. In the first Halloween, I think they talk about in that making of thing where they only had so many fall leaves. They shot it in California, but it's supposed to be Illinois, Haddonfield, Illinois, but they only had so many fall leaves. So they'd have like a few, like maybe 4 or 5 trash bags of like, brown leaves, and they throw them on the ground and like shoot the thing. And then they have to rake them all back up and take them to the next location where they can throw them on the ground.
Don't mess up the leaves.
Yeah, don't step on the leaves. They just gotta get these through the whole movie, but there's palm trees in the background too. They're supposed to be in Illinois, in a small suburban town, and the high school is all outside, which only happens in Southern California. But for me growing up here, they didn't realize it's just a normal high school. What do you mean? Like, well, there's no high schools that look like that anywhere else in the country.
But also everybody else, no one ever looks at any of that stuff. I mean, like as kids and stuff.
Of course, yeah, as kids.
Now they do. Yeah. Because you can go back and rewind and watch everything, and like back then you'd watch one thing and
you had to go to the movies to watch it. You couldn't watch it at home. I mean, there's a whole thing of you like, I went to the movie and saw this thing on a giant screen, but it was the only way you could see it.
Yeah, you don't have a time to be like, whoa, wait, rewind. Were those palm trees? Were those palm trees there?
Not until the rise of VHS did the nerds really get a chance to become nerds.
I think about that all the time. Of the TV shows that we watched, like you'd only see it once, and then you'd wait for half reruns
because you went out of the room to go to the bathroom during a commercial break. And you came back and you missed whatever happened,
and the reruns weren't ever in order.
Oh,
You'd
right.
like
Yeah, that was the whole idea.
you'd get the reruns, but then you'd be like, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never knew which one you're going to see.
No, and that's why all these sitcoms and all these shows had to kind of get you back to stasis. You had to get back to where you were at the beginning, at the end of everyone, so they could watch them out of order and never really know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was more of a soap opera kind of thing, was the only thing that kind of went in order. And they would slowly do it for some of them. But
yeah,
between, it's not quite anthology, but close enough, you know. Yeah. The Simpsons always did great jokes with that. Like, and that's the end of that one. Now everything ended right how it started. Here we are. Yeah.
So funny.
Nothing to see here. Cool. Okay. Well, next week, what did I have on the list? Did I email you the list? Okay, I have a list here. What is?
I think you need to email. Did you email me the list?
Maybe I didn't email it to you. I'd written a list of horror films that we were going to watch. Oh, maybe did I not do it? Let's see.
I don't know.
Maybe I did.
Well, while you're looking for that, I have to say that. So we had the day off on Friday, but we had to go to these like teacher conference things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the classes I took was just like how to be more organized with AI.
Oh no.
Well, and you got to choose them, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. Right? You know,
sure.
These are I at least want to know. It's I do use it for like when I have crappy questions, and I'm like, can you bump these questions up and make them more interesting for the kids? And it works every time. I'm like, I need better questions to ask them about what they think about their reflections. Like, what could they reflect on with their contour drawing? And
I see.
And then I was like, here's 3 that I have. And they're like, well, here's 3 more that you could add to that about their thought process when they were thinking about their line work.
Oh, this is asking ChatGPT for more like,
give me 5 things to ask middle school students, whatever.
Prompts.
So I have used
that's
it.
A great idea. Yeah.
Prompts and then building out like what are just adding to ideas of like, and so there were some interesting things of like how often do you ask ChatGPT a question about like what you're saying, like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think I could add or whatever? So it was kind of a funny, and it was a lot of business people. So it was a lot of people that have to write big, long letters to groups of parents and stuff like that.
Okay. And I could see how AI would be useful for that, for writing.
Super useful. Bullshit. Also just tone, because people are like, sometimes I write emails and my tone is so bad and people get like angry with me and I'm like, why are they angry? And I'm realizing my tone of my emails are off. Like I just don't write good emails. And so anyway, it was like a lot of business, like the people that work in the at the high school and the secretaries and stuff. But then we were using Google Gemini, which I've never used before. And we were kind of doing these prompts. And then I looked and it was like apps. I'm like, apps. And I was like, would you like to build an app or whatever? And I was kind of like, well, yeah. So I have this issue with the school. We don't have an application. We're not allowed, like there's all these ones that aren't allowed because of security stuff. Uh-huh. And I don't have an application that can turn PDFs into JPEGs, right? Like we can't, like I pay for Acrobat on my own and I have it on my own computer, but I can't get it on the school computer, right? It's just a dumb thing.
Can you do it on your phone? If you download it as an attachment to your phone?
Switch it over on your phone? I don't want to do it on because then I have to re-upload it, whatever. I see. And so I was like, Gemini, can you build me an application that I can create a PDF just upload a PDF and have it separate all the pages out and give me high-res JPEGs. 10 seconds later, here you go. And I was like, it buttons, it has everything. And then I was like, so then I spent the next hour, I'm like, can I take those and make it into a stop motion animation? And then I want to be able to take every single frame and do whatever time I want, but give me a bit. And so I made this like PDF to stop motion animation app in like 45 minutes.
Wow.
that I can use. And then now I've been building all of these like image processing apps for the last 3 years. And then because the other thing, so whatever, this is so off topic and we're at the end of the,
yeah, it's perfect.
But yeah, AI is going to like take over everything. It's
and then
crazy.
Are you allowed to use it in your school? I guess that's the thing. Like,
yeah,
you could put
because
you built it on your school computer, so it's allowed. You could install it on there.
Yeah, it's not even installed on the computer. It's like a web app.
Oh, I see.
So then I can.
It's an HTML page.
It's an HTML app, but like that I can pull up on my own, Google or Safari or whatever.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's just like an HTML, like a little HTML coded thing with buttons but all of the stuff, and I'm like, he's like visual twisting and turning things and cropping them and uploading and downloading and like making it's insane.
You should like put together like a PowerPoint presentation for your like, for the rest of the faculty. Maybe you can get a raise. Like
we don't get raises, Randy. What are you, crazy?
I don't know. Well, maybe you can
make it
a proprietary intellectual property thing. If you own the thing, copyright, then you can sell a license for it. Then that's you're right. That's the academic way. Yeah. Like, I own this technology. I can license it to you for thousands of dollars over what it actually cost me to build every year.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
But it was pretty insane.
That's wild. But, good job.
Yeah.
How fun.
But
I've heard these similar sort of things. I have a friend, Dave Simeon, who's done some music things. He built a synthesizer using ChatGPT. And again, it's the same thing. It's like on HTML and like kind of describing what he wanted the synth to do and sound like. And it's kind of a simple thing, but he said and
it built it for you.
It's his, yeah. And I guess he owns it or somehow, like the technology is his.
Yeah, it's weird. So. It's very weird because I don't know anything, and you're literally going, I would like to see the buttons blue, and then can you make this button a little bigger and that one smaller and put a box here? It's like, this is such a great idea, Aaron. This will really put a performance cap on this.
And it jiggles your balls for you while you do it, while you tell
them.
What about
thanks,
could you
buddy.
make it a little bit bigger? Wow, I never would have thought of that. Incredible
that
idea.
Is amazing. I should have thought of that.
Bigger is
first
better.
time.
Why didn't I think of that? Here you go, pal. You want to go out for a beer after this?
Yeah.
We'd really be getting along.
Digital beers.
Yeah.
I've just gifted you 2 digital beers.
Oh my God. But this all just reminds me, you probably haven't seen this Rick and Morty episode where there's an alien that works in the house that has like a tattoo on his forehead, says, "Don't develop my app. Don't develop an app with me." And he's the friendliest alien you've ever seen. And he's like, "Would you like to develop an app?" And Rick's like, don't do it. He's really helpful. He's a really helpful assistant, and he'll do anything you want him to do, but don't develop his app. And it's like tattooed literally on his forehead. And then the dad falls her like, "Would you like to develop an app?" Like, you know what? I would. Great, let's do it. And it's a whole backdoor plot for his alien race to come in and take over the world and destroy Earth. But he needed somebody to develop the app with him. But he's so friendly about it the whole time while he's doing it. Like, oh my God. Great, let's do it. Let's develop the app.
I'm right there. I just developed the app, Randy.
That's great. Good. You've invited the Cyberdyne computer systems into your.
Yes.
Now every thought you have for the rest of your life will be property of the AI overlords.
Like, yeah. If I'm some kind of digital version of me next week on the podcast, you'll know what happened.
But you'll see on the news that there's this like murder drone bot that's running your app in its interface. So you'll catch a clip of this murdered bot, going crazy on the streets.
Yeah.
Like,
it'll say like
Aaron Farley's app presents murder bot. Like, no, I didn't want it to become a murder bot. I just wanted to turn a JPEG into a PDF into a JPEG. I didn't know I was going to empower a whole like murder.
All I wanted was a JPEG. All I wanted was a JPEG.
Here's your JPEG. And sawing people in half. There's your horror movie.
There's Jerusalem crickets coming out.
How do you like this JPEG? Perfect. All right. So there you go, Hollywood.
I did love that.
Make that movie. Let's see that movie.
Yes.
Put that in your AI pipe. But it can be all AI, actors and actresses. You don't have to hire any real people.
Yeah, I loved the idea of the movie, the vacation movie, but for a touring band.
What was this? Did we talk about
There
this?
was in the interview.
Oh God. Okay, my brain.
Yeah, she was talking to, she was like
Like, like National Lampoon's Vacation.
yeah, she was like, we were thinking of tour as like National Lampoon's Vacation. We're like, oh, we should go on tour. And then we go on tour, and then like a quarter of the way through tour, COVID hits. And then the next stop, like the whole town's on fire. And then the next stop, there's a whole flood happening. And it was like this, yeah.
Yeah.
And then comedy ensues.
Isn't that life? It's like a metaphor for life. Like, no, it's just life.
Yeah, I feel like with the political landscape right now, it's like, yeah, it's about it.
Good work. Yeah, every town you go to,
Go to
it just gets
Chicago,
worse and
get
worse and
arrested.
worse.
Yeah. Get arrested and put in an ICE detention camp.
Okay, well, where's our next show's in Venezuela? Okay, here we go.
How'd that happen?
Yep.
Oh, right. Okay.
Look, kids, Big Ben.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see everyone next week when we will have. I think next week is Brian Duran, who has been a music manager. He managed Animal Collective for a number of years. He's a Baltimore guy, and he has a documentary that he is currently working on, and he's promoting his Kickstarter to get support about. And so his documentary is about the legendary music venue in Chicago called Lounge Acts, and he shot the last 3 nights of shows at Lounge Acts at the end of the 90s. And there's all these great bands. Steve Albini and Shellac were one of the bands that played there. And one of the owners of Lounge Acts also married Jeff Tweedy from Wilco. So it's a very like Chicago venue.
Wow.
And he has a great documentary with all this live footage that's never been seen before that he's working to get out. And there's another great interview I have from Dave Markey, who has a great film about a legendary Los Angeles musician called The Secret Lives of Bill Bartell. It also has a Kickstarter that was going, and yeah, it's been fun. I've been enjoying kind of trying to help people promote these projects that are sort of works in progress.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
There's some fun stuff. But yeah, next week will be the Brian Duran interview, and we'll talk about Chicago and Lounge Acts, the venue.
Amazing.
So, yeah, that'll be coming out. That'll be hitting your earlobes on Thursday. Until then, email us, hyphenatehalftime@gmail.com. You can find Aaron Farley on Instagram @AaronFarley. You can find me @Randy S. Randall. Tell your friends, recommend the show to everyone you know. Tell anybody you know that lives in Des Moines, Iowa, that they should be listening to this show. Shout out to Des Moines. And yeah, send us music, send us thoughts, send us criticisms. We could take criticisms, I think, as artists. You know what I mean? We've heard it all. You can't really hurt our feelings, but give it a shot. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll take anything. To just reach out, let us know what's on your mind. If you got any music or music recommendations. Again, this Noisevember, I got nothing. So I think as this month goes on, I might put Noisevember back up on the shelf, and for next year. When maybe we'll have more together. I thought it was going to be a slam dunk, but
again, not very talkative. The Noisevember, speaking through sound.
I am curious. I would love to do just at least one joke episode. That just is like, this is Noisevember. Here we're going to be interviewing, and then here's the interview. I wonder if I could just
maybe you could try to interview Longmont Potion Castle.
Oh, that'd be great. Did you? You probably didn't hear at the end of last week's episode. I did put on Elastical Gomez. One of my favorite things.
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay. I also put on the Rockford Files theme as well at the end of last week's show. I don't have anything for the end of this week one. I don't know what's been rattling around my brain. I thought I was going to be unleashing the horrors of what lives in my brain rent free, but I think I'm doing okay this week. I don't have any intrusive thoughts to share.
Good. Good. You're too tired.
I think so. I am tired. Yeah. We've had a long weekend of many soccer games and D&D
it's that time of year.
And
oh my god,
sleepovers,
you're going through it,
and birthday parties and travel, and yeah, we're doing the whole Megillah right now.
Good. Keep it up.
Yep. That's it. No time to whine.
Yeah, no time to whine, no time to waste. Let's go.
That's it. Just keep it going. All right, man. All right, we'll see everybody next week. Bye.
All right, see ya.